Hello and welcome to Chapter 2 of Marketing 3340, Marketing Research. Before we get started, I do want to remind you to please read the chapters in the text. Probably what would be the best thing to do would be to read the chapter and then review the slides. Um, and as I say here, although the slides review the important parts of the chapter and include most of what's in the chapter, there's still a lot of valuable information in the chapter that doesn't make the slides. And so you don't want to cheat yourself out of that information. With that in mind, welcome to Chapter 2. And we looked at the basics, the very basics in Chapter 1. Now we're going to take a look at the research process in detail. And this chapter focuses solely on the very first step of the process, which is formulation of the problem. Keep in mind that anytime there's a need for additional information in order to make a decision, that is a marketing research problem. Doesn't necessarily mean there's something negative going on, although lots of times there are. But one of the key elements in marketing research, and one of the most important parts, is actually trying to um, develop or find out what the problem really is. What should we be researching? What are we trying to work on um, in order to for the research itself to solve the problem? So formulation of the problem. So here are the stages in the research process. And in today's chapter, in chapter 2, we're only going to focus on the very first step or first stage, which is formulating the problem. And we'll go in as we go along in the semester. We will cover all of these steps and stages. Here's a poll question. Using taste tests is a foolproof method of conducting marketing research. What do you think? If you answer strongly agree, you would be severely mistaken. And to give you a really good idea of why that is, why you would be mistaken, I would like for you to go to my YouTube channel, Jim Davis 43, and in the Marketing 3340 Marketing Research playlist, watch the video titled The 1985 Launch of New Coke. You were probably way too young, and actually this probably happened way before you were born, but in 1985, the Coca-Cola Company decided to change the taste of Coke, and they decided to do that based on some taste tests. Wrong thing to do. Watch the video. It's a very short video, but it'll give you some background on this colossal mistake that goes down in marketing history. Here are the learning objectives for Chapter 2. Problems versus opportunities. Really, the only thing this slide is saying is there's very little difference between what we might view as a problem or we might view as an opportunity. As you can see, the definition, or to the left and to the right, a process of trying to identify specific areas where additional information is needed about the marketing environment. That's true for a problem, but it's also true for an opportunity. So marketing researchers have to realize that there's very little difference between the two. Today's opportunity is tomorrow's problem if we fail or the company fails to take advantage of an opportunity, but its competitors do take advantage of it. So problems versus opportunities, for marketing research purposes, it's very important that when we do get information to make good decisions, that we make the right decision. And we only do that through the information that is collected through marketing research. So the problem formulation process, that's the very first stage in the marketing research process. But what would we do as marketing researchers? Well, first, we'd meet with the client And we try to clarify the problem or slash opportunity that the client is concerned about. State the manager's decision problem, develop possible research problems, select a research problem to be addressed, and then prepare some type of an agreement that outlines exactly what we're going to do. So, meeting with the client. We want to meet with the client to really get a background of what's going on. A lot of times, researchers don't even work for the company, and they need the background information about what's going on, the company's strategy, where they want to be, where they want to go, what they're trying to do, and what does management perceive the research as helping. So, in other words, what are the management objectives for the research and possible managerial actions to result from the research? So, if we do gather this information, how are they going to use that information, and what are they going to do with that information? One of the things we have to always consider is planned versus unplanned change. Planned change would be something that's proactive. In other words, we want to increase sales by a certain amount, or we want to introduce new products, as it states here. Unplanned change would be trying to figure out what happened. Why did the virus spread so quickly in New York? That happened. It was unplanned change. We want to find out why that happened. Step 2 is to clarify the problem or the opportunity. As a marketing researcher, one of the things that we can do is we can sort of look at the problem from a different angle and give the manager a different perspective on the problem. And when we do that, it's sort of the chance for the researcher to fully analyze the heart of the problem, and at the same time using the advice and input from the client. And so during this time when you're really trying to figure out what to do, you can get some really good insight because you're sort of working as a team before the actual research starts. I'll give you an example. 2 years ago, one of my marketing research classes were assigned a research project where they had to find out how to increase enrollment at Fairmont State University. One of the things that the team did was spend time with the recruitment people here at Fairmont State University. They asked them questions. They got input from the people who are responsible for recruitment and enrollment. Gave them a very good idea of what was going on and helped them develop a very good research process. State the manager's decision problem. A couple different types of decision problems. One is discovery oriented, the other strategy oriented. So a discovery oriented is sort of like looking back and saying, what happened? What is going on? Why are sales decreasing? Why is the virus spreading? And we're trying to discover what is causing this problem. A strategy-oriented decision problem is more along with plan change, where we say we want to increase sales by 20%. How can we make this happen? We want to contain the virus. How can we do that? And so it's always best to have a strategy-oriented research if possible because we're more in control and it means we're being proactive instead of reactive. But still both exist. just to give you a little bit more clarification, I created this slide to give you examples. So the first are a couple examples of discovery-oriented decision problems, trying to discover the problem. Why are sales down 15%? Why is the virus spreading so rapidly? The second one is examples of strategy-oriented decisions. How can we increase sales by 15% over the next month? Or how can we stop the virus from entering the country? So as you can see, the very first one is reactive, whereas the second one, strategy-oriented, is more proactive. Develop possible research problems. So one of the things that we have to do is take those questions that the manager has, and in this instance, or in this example, why are store revenues so low? Or we could say, why did we lose 15% market share last month? And then turn those decision problems into research problems that we can work with, such as investigate current customer satisfaction. Perhaps we survey customers as they leave the store, or we ask them to call an 800 number to complete a customer satisfaction survey, or assess the target market perceptions of store and competitors. Maybe we create a focus group of customers and ask them to give us their perceptions of both our stores and the stores of our competitors. These examples are discovery oriented because we're trying to find out or discover why something happened. Store revenues were so low, we're losing market share, whatever the case may be, but these are discover oriented type of questions. Decision problems, again, a little bit different. Keep in mind that strategy-oriented decision and research problems are more proactive. So where we have the example of the decision problem being, how do we increase store traffic? Well, we know that we might be able to do that through advertising, so we might investigate the effectiveness of different sales promotions or advertising. Determine consumer response to 2 proposed ad campaigns. Maybe it's a focus group, maybe it's a survey, whatever the case may be. But the point is, we're taking this decision problem, how do we increase store traffic, and turning it into research problems that we can actually conduct research on. Step 5, select research problems to be addressed. Here you can see where we used both of the prior examples and selected 2 or 1 in each category that would best give us the information that we need. And we would use this, or we would make this choice based on our expertise, but also with input from the manager. Keep in mind, we may not even work for the company. We're just an independent researcher. Or we may work for the company, and we ask managers who are involved directly with the problem that's being researched what they think would give them the best information to make the decisions that they need to make. And then finally, we would prepare a research request agreement, where this agreement would have the background of what's going on, the decision problem, the research problems that we're looking to address the decision problem with, the use, population and subgroups that might be give us the information that we need, logistics. What do we need to do this? And money. How much money is it going to cost us? Don't worry about that right now. But the point is, when we're thinking about conducting research, we have to have a plan in place. And the research request agreement is that plan. And it's a plan that is thought out between the researcher and the client. And in the case, let me give you an example. In the case of my class a couple years ago who did the enrollment uh, research project, it was with them, the students, and the recruitment department. They got together and, and hashed out this agreement. And that's the problem formulation process. Keep in mind, it's the very first stage of the process, of the research process, the problem formulation, but it's very important. We need to make sure that we understand and have correctly identified the problem before we start putting together a plan to research in order to get information that will help us solve the problem. We want to make sure we have the right problem and that we're going after the right information. That's it for chapter 2. And now you will be able to have you'll have all the information you need to take the first quiz, which is quiz chapters 1 and 2. So please proceed to finish the assignment that is assigned for this chapter and take the quiz, and you'll be finished with the first 2 chapters. Congratulations.